Welcome back to the channel for some more recent Star Citizen news highlights. Well, let's start with the real big story this week, the unveiling of some new technology for Star Citizen. Procedurally generated food for the canteen on board the Stanton for use in Squadron 42. Now, this is an unprecedented level of technology never seen before in a game, and they showed it in a stream on Twitch on April the 1st, and I think from what we can see here, the definition of the food is really something to behold. Certainly that looks very tasty indeed, and I have heard strong rumours of a MasterChef Star Citizen edition coming very soon. Now, this week's Aroundiverse was hosted by Sean Tracy with Eric Kieran Davis and featured a Squadron 42 update with Nick Elms. Now, first up, Nick told us that they've been working on the Bengal carrier. Now, the Bengal is a gigantic ship, and they've had problems with actually getting people to actually get in around this ship in a timely manner. So they've introduced an elevator system and also an onboard ship monorail. Now, this ship's monorail runs the entire length of the gigantic Bengal carrier. So obviously this is a great solution, otherwise you'd be walking probably for hours just to get from one end of the ship to the other. Now, even larger than the Bengal carrier is the Shubin Interstellar Aachen Station, which will be featuring in Squadron 42. Now, that too has a transport monorail system for the miners and the workers to actually get around in a more timely manner on board the station. Nick showed us the weapon turret designs for the Vandal capital ships, how they've actually designed them to look very organic, very flower-like in how they actually get into a firing position. Now, Nick told us that these turrets play an integral part in several missions in Squadron 42, so they've actually designed them so that they can be easily identifiable. They've been also working on the explosions and VFX for the alien weapons. Now, we also got a quick look at the inside of a Jean ship. Now, these ships are nothing like we've seen before, and the way they operate is completely different. Even the way gravity works inside these ships is totally different to what we've experienced already. Now, we got to see some very impressive laser FX effects, which is part of their ongoing improvements for the cockpit experience. And we got a look at the now improved and expanded takedown system. Now, we got a look at the new skin shader system and a comparison between the old and new systems, and what it does is actually give a much more realistic shader and lighting approach, so obviously the characters look a lot more realistic. Looks very nice indeed. Special feature in Aroundiverse this week was all about AI and how they actually pilot the ships, and previously the ships were actually just sort of, the AI was the ship and obviously it wasn't as complex. But what they've been working on and what they're aiming to do in future is to actually have individual AI pilots pilot those ships as if they were a real person. And obviously they've been working on the tools and all the details they need to make that more realistic. And of course different ships fly in, well, a different fashion, from a large ship like the Starfarer to a smaller fighter ship like the Gladius. And they've been actually programming the AI to actually fly the ships in, well, the manner which suits the ship. Now they're also aiming for all these AI pilots, be it human, pirate or vandal, to have their own personalities and also react to players depending on how the player interacts with the AI. Well, the real news this week, seriously, is that 3.1 has gone live and it has brought a lot of new features into the game. However, there are bugs, as is usual with Star Citizen, and I like to think of the game at the moment as, well, not really a game, but we're just taking small steps along the long path which lies ahead of us before we get to the final game. Now there has been some performance improvements for some, but for others, well, there has been some frustrating experiences, and I'm sure there will be some patches over the next week to address some of those. Now we all know that performance issues really won't be addressed until object container streaming and bind culling come into the game later in the year, and well, we can judge the performance when they come into the game. Now at the moment a lot of people are a little bit frustrated by the way you actually reclaim your ships after they get destroyed, or you lose them when the game crashes, because obviously that costs alpha UEC. But mainly, if you don't want to spend a lot of alpha UEC to actually expedite your claim, you could wait up to 7 hours to get your reclaimer back, which isn't much fun indeed. But obviously I guess CIG have a reason for doing that, so maybe they have a good reason, but maybe they'll think of adjusting that time, because I think it is personally too early to have that system in the game at the moment. However, there has been a lot of new features come into the game, so let's have a look at some of them. One of the new features for 3.1 is the character customization. Now this is the first iteration of player customization, and of course at the moment there's no female avatars to choose from, because that's waiting I think for the skeleton to be finalized, and we'll see that later in the year. So you've got some basic customization options compared to other games out there, but this is the first step, so you can choose your eye color, hair color, and well, if you got hair or not. Now obviously this system will get more refined and will be added to in subsequent releases, and it's just another first step along the path. Another new feature for 3.1 is the service beacons. Now this is probably the first iteration of this system, and basically you'll be able to create beacons or accept beacons put out by players to perform certain tasks like transport or combat assists. Now in the future AI will be able to create beacons as well, so that will obviously add to the system tremendously. Now one of the new features of note is that when you're interdicted by the AI, one of the ships will be carrying a quantum jammer, so you can't simply jump away, so you'll have to destroy that ship before you can escape, or you may want to take out all the other ships as well. And you will also gain reputation for killing any AI NPC pirates. Now of course in 3.1 we've got 4 new ships, or vehicles I should say. Always nice to see new ships and vehicles in the game. Now we have the Misk Razor, which is a racing ship, looks very much like a Formula 1 type of car. We've got your Anvil Terrapin, which is an explorer type vessel, and that certainly looks like a little turtle, this one. And we've got the Tumbril Cyclone, and of course this isn't a ship, it's a buggy for traversing distances on the moons very fast indeed. And we've got the huge behemoth of a ship, the Aegis Reclaimer, and this one is a total beast and by far the largest ship in the game so far. Well, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Now I'm going to do these news videos when I've got the time, because in the job I do, where I walk up to 12 miles a day, and my personal circumstances, sometimes I just don't have the time to actually do these. And of course sometimes there's not really the news to justify an episode, but I will carry on doing these when I can. However, I am looking into going into doing some streaming on YouTube, not always Star Citizen, but probably mainly. And so look out for my streams on my YouTube channel, and hopefully, well, perhaps some of you can join me on board one of my ships. So until next time, wherever you're watching, out in that big universe, you take care, and hopefully I'll see you somewhere, maybe live on YouTube. Bye for now.